PreveCeutical is a health sciences company that develops innovative options for preventative and curative therapies utilizing organic and nature identical products. And the company aims to be a leader in the preventative health sciences sector. With me is Stephen Van Deventer, the chairman and CEO. And great to have you for your
Thank you
first
very much for having
meeting. To
me.
have you here. So, talk about your background and your corporate life and what brought you here.
So I'm an investment banker by trade. I've been doing so since the 90s, and I usually focus on alternative type of projects. However, back in the early to 2013, around then, I got involved in the cannabis sector, and I was one of the people that spearheaded, or the person that spearheaded taking the company public, raising the money, and starting Aurora Cannabis. And while doing that, I had a lot of people I started talking to through the medical industry saying, you've got to look for solutions that we actually provide data to doctors. Doctors won't say, here, just take this. We need actual clinical data. And that's how I decided to go into preventive medicine and learning in the medical field.
Interesting. And I've been hearing a lot of talk lately about how important preventative medicine is, that try to prevent us from getting in the hospital and racking up all these huge bills and things like that. So is that what drew you to this industry?
Yes, absolutely. Curative therapies is like putting a Band-Aid on it. We really want to try and solve the issues before they actually become larger issues. For example, the opioid crisis. We're trying to handle the opioid crisis by having treatments for mentally ill people or people with addictions. We need to find a way to stop it before it gets there. And hence why one of our solutions is a non-addictive painkiller that you cannot get high with, you cannot create tolerance, and you cannot overdose or get addicted. So it's important for us to be able to not have that medication in the hospitals, and when people leave, they have to take for a while, then wean off it, because that's when the addiction starts.
Right. So let's talk a little bit more about that. What is that treatment?
So basically, it's a peptide. We've got a library of peptides we have developed with our nature identical technology of how we actually synthesize it. And we've got some really strong candidates that we've done some preclinical trials on mice, et cetera, that show us that it's extremely strong. It's stronger than any morphine or opioids. And we've been written up in a couple of pharmaceutical journals with respect to other peer-reviewed people giving us reviews and what they thought of it. And right in there, they've said it's non-addictive, it's stronger than any morphine or heroin or opioids, and doesn't have all the side effects. So we're now moving into the clinical trial division of it.
Okay, I was just going to ask where you were with it. So is this the first clinical trial? And if, say, best case scenario, when might it be available?
Well, pharmaceuticals take quite a few years to get through the regulatory process. However, we do have a couple of things going for us. Number one, we should be able to go to human trials probably within the next, I'd probably say early part of next year, maybe earlier, potentially. And on top of that as well, because of the opioid crisis, and it's not just a standalone crisis that happens in North America and the United States, Canada, and Australia, and all through Europe, there would probably be a provision for fast track status so we can fast track it. So ultimately, depending on funding and getting through the funding, if we had all the money we need for the clinical trials, we could probably wrap it up within a couple of years.
Have there been independent peer reviews?
We've had two of them, one from the British Journal of Pharmacology, and the other one's out of Lumers out of Switzerland, which are the two highly respected ones.
Mm-hmm. And then talk about the team you assembled when you started this company.
That is very important. In this company, I'm probably the least educated in my team. And because, the only way we're going to be successful is having real career people that understand pharmacology and pharmaceuticals. And so the important people I have is like Dr. Mac Jawadika. He's the president and chief science officer. He was with Pfizer for 28 years and was responsible for creating the drug Zoloft, amongst other ones. I have Dr. Linja Olofsson, who's basically a microchemical engineer, so to speak, in the pharmaceutical space. We have Dr. Ajit Shetty, who was with Johnson & Johnson for 36 years, and he was the chairman of Janssen Pharmaceutical till probably not so long ago. So and Dr. Harry Perek, who does all of our, is our chief research officer, has been working on these type of products for years to develop these new technologies. So really a grade A team internationally and well connected in the pharmaceutical industry.
Okay, well, I hope that you bring us up to date on these trials and things, because it's important problem to solve. So thank you so much, Stephen.
Really appreciate your time today. Thank you.